Hi you guys, today I'm going to share with you some key concepts for fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And my resource is this book by Pete Walker, which is a fabulous read. In the face of danger, we are going to use, well, not even necessarily in the face of danger. In real life, we need all of these four responses. A healthy, well-developed person will have all of these responses. So I'm going to give you examples of the healthy way and then the unhealthy way. So a healthy way of using the fight response. Fight is for self-protection, for healthy assertiveness. And it would be when you're being assertive, when you're holding a boundary, when you're using courage, or you're showing leadership. An untraumatized person will use the fight response that way. An untraumatized person will use the flight instinct to disengage and retreat when confrontation would just make things worse or put you in danger. What would a healthy flight response be? Disengaging, being industrious, persevering. Untraumatized people also freeze appropriately and quit struggling when further activity is futile, such as some examples would be mindfulness, poised readiness, peace, or presence, or just kind of standing back and checking out the situation before you jump in, kind of assessing the situation. And finally, untraumatized people also fawn in a non-groveling manner. Fawning is your ability to communicate, to compromise, to listen, to make peace, and to be of love and service. Now, adults who were repetitively traumatized in childhood, they learn to survive by overusing one or more of these responses in a negative way. So, an example would be, and I'm gonna put these charts at the end of the video. So detrimental characteristics of these used as defenses. And I want to say, like, in the same way that when you're annoyed with a child, they're doing undue attention seeking, like all kids need attention. So the idea is you want to give a kid positive attention. Oh, I noticed that you were so quiet while mommy was on the phone. Thank you. Or, oh, I saw that you tied your own shoes and put your toys away. That makes mommy's life so much easier. Oh, would you like to play a game? And when they're not getting enough attention, you will feel annoyed because they will look for attention by interrupting you, throwing things, and acting out. So every need that we have can be expressed in a positive or negative way. Undue attention seeking is showing that the child isn't getting enough positive attention. A power struggle is showing the child is being rebellious because they're being controlled too much or not allowed to make their own decisions. This is all in active parenting. But here I want to talk about adults. So, someone who's overusing the fight response, like they're triggered or they're not fully developed as a human being, they may always go through life. Some people go through life in these modes all the time. Sometimes you can just be triggered into it, but see where you go when you're triggered or if you're this way already. So a negative fight response would be someone who's narcissistic, controlling, explosive, volatile, entitled, a bully, demanding, a sociopath, demanding perfection, a type A person. The detrimental characteristic of the flight response, rather than disengaging, they have like an obsessive compulsive dissociative disorder, panicky, rushing or worrying, an adrenaline junkie, a busyholic, like a workaholic, a micromanager, ADHD, busy, 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 you're just flighting. Okay, detrimental characteristics of the freeze response is someone who is hiding, camouflaging, isolating, a couch potato, a hermit, achievement phobic, a domestic violence victim. And a detrimental characteristics of the fawning response is groveling, a loss of self, people pleaser, doormat, slave, a parentified child. Now, in your relationship, this is how these 4 types are going to show up, okay? Now, if everybody wants to, in a relationship, people have a desire to connect, and they also want to feel safe. And in your intimate relationship is where these can really come out. So see where you and your partner are. Someone who has a negative fight response is going to control to connect. These are our controllers. I connect with you by controlling what you do so you won't leave me or hurt me. And to be safe, they rage. Okay? They want to control to connect, and they want to rage to feel safe. The flight response distortion, they want to be perfect to connect, and perfect to be safe. They need to be perfect. Try to be so perfect so that they will have a connection and that they will feel safe. They feel loved only if they're perfect. The freeze response for connection is no way. I don't want to connect. I do not want to connect. Connecting isn't safe. No way. And they hide to be safe. Safety is by hiding from people, hiding from any social interactions, because people scared them. People are dangerous. And a fawn type has abandoned themselves and they merge to connect. They don't even know what they want. Their only joy and comes if you're happy. They merge to connect and they grovel to be safe. So I want to just read a little bit more about these 4 types, because these 4 distorted types are really ambivalent about intimacy and connection, because closeness triggers them into painful emotional flashbacks. But read this book because he has tips in there for how you can heal. These flashbacks remind us of how we had to survive without comforting connection in childhood. So, here are the fight types. They avoid real intimacy by alienating others with their angry and controlling demands for unconditional love. I would put, and I don't think you have to be an extreme here. You could just be slightly there. I would say my dad was that way, because he would come home and he would demand that we run up and greet him with a kiss and a hug to show respect. And he would get mad if we didn't do it. That would be a fight type, and that's not real intimacy. That's an example of an angry and controlling command. You can do it with your kids or with your partner. This unrealistic demand to have their unmet childhood needs met destroys the possibility of intimacy. And they also see themselves as perfect, so that entitles them to totally blame their partners for any relationship problems. Those are the fight types. They control or connect, and they rage to be safe. Okay, now the flight types, they stay perpetually busy and industrious to avoid being triggered by further relating. Any overdoers here? Any overdoer women who want to work, busy? Or guys, the computer nerds, the workaholics? I show love to my family by providing. Hey, I'm not emotionally available. I'm very busy working over here. Don't bother me. I'm loving you by working. Okay, that's you guys. They work obsessively to perfect themselves enough to someday become worthy enough for love. Such flight types have great difficulty showing anything but their perfect persona. If you're perpetually busy and industrious, if you don't know how to relax and have fun and play, that could be you. Now, the flight types are not watching my videos because they're perfect. They don't want to change. But the rest of you, if you see yourself in this, just have some compassion for your type, because you needed that to survive. So don't hate your type. Just make friends with it, okay? Just make friends with it. And then later you can work on changing it. But first, just have some compassion for that part of you that had to do that to survive. Freeze types. Many freeze types hide away in their rooms and reveries, fully convinced that the world of relating holds nothing for them. Freeze types who have not been totally turned off by relationships, by horrible childhood neglect or abuse, gravitate to online relationships. They can be pursued safely at home with as little contact as desired. So that would be the incels, the guys that don't ever want to leave the house, people who are housebound, and we don't see them because they're in their homes. But if any of you are watching that video, I just want to tell you that there would be a reason that you want to avoid people, because all your experience of people would be they're dangerous and they want to hurt you. So it makes sense that you would want to avoid people. So instead of thinking that something's wrong with you for being like not social enough or being an introvert, just celebrate that part of you that knew how to keep yourself safe. Because to keep these, not let these abusive parents take advantage of you, you had to kind of keep them at arm's length or dissociate from them or withdraw from them. So just celebrate your self-protection mechanism, especially you guys who are these freeze types. Okay, got it. And don't get mad at yourself if you're not good enough at appreciating yourself. Just notice your thoughts about it, because I'm here to tell you that in therapy we teach clients that the adaptive child, I'm going to call that an adaptive child functioning mechanism, is to be celebrated because it kept you safe. Okay, the last type is the fawn type. The fawn types avoid emotional investment and potential disappointment by barely showing themselves. Okay, so I'm a little bit on the fawn type. I can get it, yeah, that's probably where I would have gone. Like, I have rights and needs and I'm allowed to express them, but not very fawny. Like, you can just be a little bit. They hide behind their helpful personas and over-listen, over-elicit, or overdo for the other. By over-focusing on their partners, they then do not have to risk real self-exposure and the possibility of deeper level rejection. Okay, so I'm going to put these charts here at the end of this video, and I hope this has been helpful. If you can just see which mode you go to when you're triggered in your intimate relationship. That's where I'm going to recommend that if you want to get something out of this video, ask yourself, into which mode do I go when I am triggered in my intimate sexual relationship? Where does my partner go when he or she is triggered in our relationship? And that will be a great basis for discussion and some great self-awareness. And I think self-awareness is the most exciting travel we can take. Like, I would rather learn more about myself than take a trip to Japan or Hawaii or the Fiji Islands or wherever the thing is, because this is very freeing and enlivening and creates a lot of aliveness by seeing patterns that keep us really stuck. And those of you are like, how come you're so happy? Because I do this kind of stuff, and realize things and let go of limitations that keep me stuck. And it's fun. It's super fun. Personally, I don't like to get triggered, and there was a trigger I was working on that I made a video about that it doesn't trigger me anymore. So that's good. I don't like to be triggered. I'm peaceful, I'm happy, and it's very rare that I get triggered. But now if I was in a relationship, and that's the other thing too, is to like pick relationships with people who are actually healthy, that don't always well, you don't have to overcompensate for their triggers and their trauma. Like, they should be just healthy and adults, you know. We don't have to be okay with or compensate for somebody else's unwillingness to stop raging or stop fawning or stop fleeing or fighting, fawning, fleeing, or freezing. Like, it's not our responsibility to heal other people. Other people have to heal themselves if they want to. And if they don't, they don't get to be in my life anymore at this point. That's the advantage of being 60 and having everything I want. And I want to thank my friend Tranquility, because she shared with me that one of her friends would always tell a guy who wanted to date her, I'm happy with my life. What have you got to offer me? What have you got to offer me? And that's where I am. You know, any man that would want to date me, I would say, I'm happy with my life. Why should I date you? What have you got to offer me? Not in a what have you got to offer me, not in a disdainful way, but in a curious way. Why should I date you? And that's a real question that I have. And that's me stepping into not being in a fawning mode. And I should be okay with a guy just like being incompetent or not relational or not emotionally available. So that's what I realized from doing this. Even saying that, I know some guys are going to come on here and be like, how can you say this about men? You're so entitled. But I'm not responsible. This is me now saying I'm not responsible for anyone's getting triggered by me just expressing myself with love and curiosity. I'm not responsible for your feelings. I'm not responsible for how you're going to react. I'm not responsible for you at all. And when I'm just here sharing kindly my truth, and my truth is, my life is working for me the way it is now. So for me, if any man wanted to date me, I really would want to know, why should I date you? What have you got to offer me? So, and that's the benefit of doing this kind of work, just seeing like, where is your weakness and how can you get better? The fight people, I think if your trauma is really deep, it's going to take a little more work. So I'm going to make some more videos about this book. I think it's really great. I've talked enough. I'm going to stop now.